Hi, I'm Rob Jeffries and welcome to this open discussion regarding the well-known Twitter account Shitchester. For the benefit of its future upload onto video hosting websites, we shall now at best refer to the account as the account to minimise any offence it may cause. Please feel free though to comment on this discussion, either any available comment space or on social media. Please use the hashtag CSDiscuss. For those here tonight, please refrain from making any derogatory comments and also choice language, if possible, about those who may or may not be here tonight. Thank you to Becnicks for hosting this discussion tonight on Brook Street in Chester. So, with all the housekeeping in order, let's get right to the heart of the issue. But first, let me introduce the panel tonight. We have, first of all, John Murray, champion pickle maker and data scientist from Hambridge. Tiffany Elliott, sales assistant and long-term follower of the account from Saltney. We have Dan Schott.
Always happens, mate.
Always happens all the time. Music blogger from Tarvin originally, but now lives in the city centre. And finally, we have Kate Northcott, who is a cancer treatment campaigner. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us tonight, and everybody else who is here as well. So, as I said, let's get right to the heart of the matter, and let's start off with our first question tonight. How did you get involved with the account? We'll start with John, first of all.
I noticed, first of all, one of my friends just retweeted the account. I said, oh, that's interesting. I was aware of the corresponding London account, and I'd also seen the shrine, as we call it, in Frodsham Street, now erased, and so I just followed it for a bit of a laugh initially, and then I started submitting some photos. That was the bit I like, the quirky photos. So I started doing a few of those. It's really good, and it went from there really, and then it's developed into the phenomena it is today.
When would you say you followed that? When did that start? Obviously the account's been running for just over 18 months now.
Yeah, pretty much right at the very start. I think it hadn't even got to the 1,000 follower point at that time when I followed.
Fantastic. Moving on to Tiff. How did you get involved with the account?
I wasn't living in Chester at the time, actually. I was missing home and looking for ways to sort of be aware of things that were happening in my city for when I came home on visits and stuff like that. So again, I think it was a case that someone I knew had retweeted a couple of things. I'd seen the little homage in Frodsham Street as well. Decided to follow, again from a very early stage in the account, just because there's quirky things that were noticed, quirky pictures, different angles on things, events that were being promoted, and it was a nice thing to follow before I came home. So. And
that was purely through retweet from somebody else that you saw it as well.
It was.
Fantastic. Dan?
It was funny. It was just really funny.
No other reason other than that. It was just funny from what you saw.
Funny from what I saw. I mean, I jumped on the bandwagon. I found it quite offensive to begin with, but I was just ill-informed, didn't know what I was talking about. Like a lot of people, was that outraged and followed it. Probably got them an extra 30 followers by being outraged. So, that was it really. Yes, it's quite funny.
What particular aspect of it? Was it just the name?
The name. I think there was a picture of the Chronicle editor with a account mug, shall we say, and I got particularly offended about that for no reason whatsoever.
And was that something connected in terms of the stories that the Chronicle had been putting out because of the notoriety of the account at that point?
Yeah, but because I didn't know who it was originally, I just took it as almost, oh look, he's trying to cause a bit of controversy as well because he's using a swear word. So I thought it was a little bit lowbrow. But as time went on, and I feel that the account's become more personalised now. I think it's softened as an account. It's more about a person as opposed to just the name.
But you're definitely a convert now, so to speak.
Well, yeah, because we found each other on the same side, fighting a variety of issues and defending the city against like people who are trying to slag it off and stuff like that. So I think that's where the comradeship come from, really, and the personalisation of the accounts.
Okay, good stuff. And Kate, finally, how did you get on board with the account?
I follow Mike Jones, Councillor Mike Jones. I'm really interested in local politics. So from that, I knew there'd been a bit of a spat. So any spat I'm interested in, especially with Councillor Mike Jones. It was really interesting to me. And so I followed the spat, and that's how I found out. And then I think there was a newspaper article, because I didn't go onto Twitter until this summer. But I think I read the newspaper article prior to that and remembered that he'd been deeply offended by this account. So I found that quite amusing. So I wanted to find out who this was. And then once I knew, all I wanted to do then was find out who the account holder was. That was all I cared about, because I can't bear not knowing information.
So it was the idea that it was an anonymous account,
Yeah.
and you wanted to find out the person behind
I had to find out
that.
who it was.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. For the four of you here, and anybody else who's in the audience as well, would you relate to other people as well in terms of how they found the account, either through yourselves or through other people, and they've mentioned it to you afterwards? So anybody else who in the realm of Chester who perhaps you know
We've got
who
so
said,
much
oh,
to
have
say."
you seen that account? And obviously you said to them back, you know, yes, I've been interacting with them for a while as well.
I've certainly sat there in the early days of me using social media in a room sneering at the name with other people, yeah, definitely.
And it's been a talking point within you and your friend group
Of
as
course,
well.
yes, of course. Like I said, we looked at it very lowbrow and we sneered away at the use of the name as a swear word.
And John, is that what you found in terms of your day-to-day or your kind of relationships with people in the community as well?
I think there's been similar controversy. People didn't like the name. They said Chester's not shit, was what was said to me. And a lot of people did take offence, but I think that was an understanding issue.
Yes.
As you said, Dan.
Yeah.
That it's an understanding. Once people realised what the account was about, then they took it on board in the same way.
See, I found myself telling a lot of people about it and saying, oh, have you seen this picture? It's quite funny.
Yeah.
And people going, why is it called that? I was like, well, it's not because it's just shit about Chester, not that it's the word that it was. And it did take a lot of explaining, but when I said, if you just look at the tweets and the content behind it, you can see it's quite amusing, and a load of people have got onto it since then. And it has created a massive talking point, as obviously we're here talking about it, so.
That's it, exactly. We'll get onto the name a little bit later on, but anybody in the audience that we've got here, the general audience, who has found that same relationship of you've either found it through a retweet or somebody's mentioned it to you in the street or any other way?
I think the similar situation to everybody here is that we found it through like Twitter and different things happening. I think the interesting thing about the account and people's response to it, excuse me, sorry. Like we've had account merchandise in the shop for a little while now, and we've had a slightly negative response from certain people. Basically from misunderstanding the sense of irony, and I think we've had a number of occasions when we've had to actually explain that to people, and sort of send them away going, look, have a look, research it, see what the account's about, and actually had some apologies from people coming back into the store saying, look, we didn't really get it, and thank you so much for sort of explaining that it's ironic and it's actually a really positive account, and hopefully that's sort of gained more followers and more people understanding what the account's all about.
Would you say then, in terms of the customers that you have had into the shop, is it an age thing, is it a generation thing, and the understanding of the actual word itself, or is it perhaps, because we do have a range of ages here, from early 20s through to
Early 20s.
anything there.
Can I say 18? No.
You can say 18 if you want. But is it an age thing, or is it an understanding? Is it?
I think it's an understanding. I don't think there's any kind of age bracket on it at all. We've had we had a couple come in not so long ago wanting to buy a birthday present for a son of theirs who was, you know, quite young. I think he was maybe like 18, 19. But you know, they were in their 50s and they thought it was brilliant. And they were so excited, and they were like, "We've got him the best present ever. We're so happy about this." And obviously they've come into here understanding the account, knowing, you know, exactly what it's all about, and really happy that they're engaging in it by buying merchandise. So that's all cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah, as I say, I started following roughly about a week last Thursday, and I've just walked past this time and I got invited in because they got free drinks, so I'm quite happy to be here, to be honest. Yeah. But no, I started following back in February, and I think what brought it to my attention was the anti-fracking movement that was actually started to happen in Farndon, and the account had actually been down there and tweeted something. So from then onwards, I got myself a Twitter account and started following him and lots of other accounts as well. And I thought it was a great way to keep up with what was happening around Chester, with all different types of things, not just the things that I'm interested in, things that I wouldn't ever be interested in. We're getting coming up on my feed, which I thought was great, because there was things there which I didn't think I'd be interested in, which I was. So it was good.
Fantastic. Okay, we'll move on to the second question. You've just mentioned there, so, about a highlight that you got involved with, the anti-fracking movement. But panel, I'll ask you, starting with Kate, what has been your highlight in terms of your time since following the account?
I'm sorry, that
Even
made me
beforehand, perhaps. It could be the Mike
my
Jones.
highlight of my life?
No, nothing to do with the account.
Prosecco's working.
In regards to the account itself, the
Right,
highlight of the
okay.
account in your experience.
The
in the time you've
highlight
followed.
for me was, because of course I was interested in what he's saying, and I do love the quirkiness and all of that, but my mind was all still, who the hell is this guy? I thought it was probably early 20s, lives with mum and dad, really good sense of humour, and trying to work out, so for me it was about finding out who this person was. So the highlight was knowing I was correct, and it was a 17-year-old that lives with his mum and dad.
For you, Dan.
Can I say, first of all, with no sense of irony, and I'm sure this can be verified by the account, I actually only started following Shit Chester today.
You did? Really?
Only followed it today.
I went onto it, I went onto the site, and it was verified, and I had to press follow.
Oh, there you go.
So you only followed
So
technically
he's actually-
today.
Today, and I'll get it
Shouldn't be here.
verified.
But
I started following about 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Did you just want to get on telly?
Were you involved with the Facebook page as well then?
Yes, I don't know how that's happened.
So you're involved with the Facebook page
And
before-
the Twitter, but I don't. But maybe because we've been tagged into things.
Ah, but
Yeah.
you've never actually followed. That's interesting.
Apparently not.
Very interesting.
Apparently not, which is quite
Might
crazy.
follow you.
But in
that
terms
says
of
more
your
about-
time of seeing it,
That says more about his presence on social media, really, in terms of the everyday workings of Chester. That maybe I've not
You're
noticed, I've
seeing
not followed it.
Yeah.
okay, that's very interesting point there. Tiff, in terms of the past 18 months since the account has started, since the very beginning, what has been your highlight?
Oh, this is easy one. Mike Jones debate. Easy. I'm an ex-councillor. I love politics. I like watching Question Time and things like that. And frankly, seeing my feed explode with the amount of people, I had the whole evening like this. It was attached to my phone. I had to plug it in and put it on charge. And just seeing this roundhouse of people going, you know what you're talking about, and just defending the account so strongly because they believed so heavily in what this person was doing. And everything down either side has been lovely, but that is definitely the highlight. Definitely the highlight.